Still muted. You can hit the unmute thing. Hi, Bradley. How are you?
Is that it?
Yes, that works. Yeah, what is your name?
Sorry, I've never used this before.
No worries. What is your first name?
Catherine.
Hi, Bradley. How are you? Hi, Bradley. How are you? Bradley, can you hear me? But are you able to set it down so it's a little bit more sturdy? If you have something, that would be ideal.
Alright, let me see. Hang on just a minute. I'll have my daughter come in and get my...
Okay, and feel free to turn your camera and mute yourself during while you speak.
Alright, next.
Bradley, are you able to hear me?
Is that okay? Is that view okay?
Yeah, if you're comfortable with that view, that should be okay. Thank you.
I mean, it's not real pretty looking. I'm laying down. I have mobility issues. So.
No worries. If you're okay with that, then we're okay with that. Bradley, if you can unmute yourself and let me know your ID number, please. Bradley, are you able to unmute yourself? I just want to test your audio quickly. I got your ID number perfectly fine, but can you hear me? Hi, Bradley. How are you? Bradley, can you hear me? Hi, are you able to hear me? Hi, Bradley. I'm just checking in to see if you can hear me okay.
Yes. Balozi family. Balozi family, ma family. Oh, ensuite, famille. Ça, on a dit que famille. Pour la dire, ils ont marché, ça, ils sont jaloux, ils ont marché, so c'est jaloux, ils ont fait. Oh, yes. Hand wash. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Bradley. I'm usually into musical therapy. I had my master's degree in healthcare management, and we were born listening to Beethoven. And now that we can create our own music, it's a quite the experience for me. Yes. I'm quite familiar with the process and how it sends the information through your body without the pricking of your finger. It's quite the accomplishment. I heard it from quite some courses that I've taken, and it's from there it's developed with research. I'm usually with the medical training, and worked with places like Australia, and they've sent that sort of information. And I've also done that with Ipsos. Yes. Dexcom. I picked the first one. Yes, I picked up because it was relatable. If you had a pet or any animal that you were taking care of during the day or during the evening, that you can also track your levels while you're either walking the dog or playing with the cat or climbing a tree. Yes. What was most memorable is that the questions, they were all repetitive, so you kind of saw what was coming. You had a little hindsight. The fact that you didn't have to prick your finger was just eye popping and just genius. I saw it on all four ads, so gradually it just stuck in my mind. It stuck in my head that that's what the main point or the main topic between the ads was. I was. I find it that it was creative, informative, and persuasive. previous points were great, and I agree with most of them. I think it reaches out to both because on some occasion, type 1 can become type 2. I mean, their health and how their livelihoods can change, and this thing is changing for the better. So it can either go type 2 to type 1, or to not having diabetes at all. Where it spoke about the levels of the A1.
It's relatable from that perspective, at least to me. It just shows you that maybe she had access to something like this, so where she didn't have to be finger pricking all the time, because she was doing like 5, 6 times a day, and I understand that. And when she's been doing this for more than 30 years, yeah, it can be like Annette said, emotional. It can be burdensome. Sometimes people just get tired.
So I know, yeah, I mean, did it come through pretty clearly that this was, she was talking and kind of more, this is kind of this lady's personal story or not? I mean, does that make
Yes.
it more believable for it to be somebody's personal story or not?
Yes, it would make it more believable to me.
Yeah.
Or did you guys feel like this would be one of those where it's like the actors portraying it? Or do you think this would be a person who really has experienced this in her life? Does that make it more believable if it's a real person who's used the product and has experienced?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
It absolutely would. What about Donna? It would be, or did you feel like you already knew that with this commercial?
It's more relatable when it's someone telling about their life instead of just telling you about a product. They're telling you about how it affects their life.
Is it more believable in that way if it's coming from her perspective and her own story?
Yes. Yeah, I think it
you,
is.
Annette, because I know, Annette, you were struggling with believability of Back to Life.
Yeah, and I definitely thought that it was her story. I don't know that made it more believable if I couldn't relate to it personally. I think it's more believable when I can personally relate to it.
So you felt like you weren't as personally relating to it? Why?
I don't know that I won't say that I wasn't personally relating to it, but I think initially, like, that was the first one, and like I said, I think initially I just thought it was more monotone. So like I said, I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was more activity than I initially thought.
Okay.
So I mean, it was okay. It was okay.
How's the brand portrayed in this one? Do you feel like what's the image of the brand? How do you feel about the brand's role in this one or not? Do you think about or hear about the brand's role or not? How did it portray Dexcom?
Well, I think it portrayed Dexcom as new cutting-edge technology.
Okay. Any other way that the brand comes across in tone or in message? Nothing?
Yeah, I think the brand was trying to say that they're there for you. This is for you. It's not, they're not trying to make money. It's not a money grab. It's a I want to help you type of deal.
Okay. Did anybody else take it in any other way? Did it come off in a negative way in any way about the brand or not?
To me, it came off as user-friendly more than anything else.
Okay, and what element of it made it that way, Edmundo?
Again, because of the ease in which you can use it, not having to finger prick. I hate to keep repeating that, but that's but it does give you a measure of more control over your diabetes.
Okay. Real quick, how important was that message about going too low? I know a couple of you mentioned that as being something that was relatable in a way to you. How important is it that they keep that part of the message? If they take this to full production, do they need to keep that part or not?
They need to keep it.
Why is that, Steve?
Well, that's important. Highs and lows. It gives you alerts, and if you're approaching either one of those ranges, you need to do something.
Okay. Got one more question about this one real quick. Any other alternative, excuse me, scenarios or settings that you were thinking about that might also work for this or even work better? What ways could they optimize this? Are there other situations that you would say, well, maybe that wasn't as relatable? I thought of this situation I go through or my friend goes through, or, is there any other relatable situation other than what she's doing there in her story? Bradley, do you think of something or?
I thought overall, the way she communicated was well for someone in her situation, and anyone else in any type of situation similar to hers would have done the same thing.
But is there any other scenario, maybe stories from patients about the real life situations, everyday things, or maybe it's in more adventurous stories where they go out to do something really cool that they've never tried before, excuse me, sorry, allergies, like skydiving or something, right? So, is it the everyday or is it more of the adventurous things? Like now I'm able to go do this without pricking, what are the most relatable ones you think would work best?
The everyday ones, I think, are more relatable.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of nodding your heads. Why is that, Donna?
Because not everybody's adventurous. Not everybody goes skiing, hiking. But everybody does live a day-to-day life, taking care of their children, taking care of their pets, going for walks.
So what's another setting for you? Is it the pets and the walks, or is it something else?
Maybe seeing her at work, well, that was her job, but going to a restaurant or maybe the movies.
Yeah, quite a few of you mentioned either being in a work setting or out at a restaurant when you're kind of with the public and or people, friends, close people, and you don't want to, you want to have a discreet way. Yeah. Okay. All right. Super helpful. All right, I think we'll move on and maybe we'll hear more examples as you see the different ones in here. So we're going to go through these next ones a little bit quicker. That was the first one that usually takes a little bit longer. Let's go on now to the second one that you saw. That's letter P. I'm going to play that one and then we'll talk about it, okay? We'll write down those three things again real quick and then the main message and then we'll talk it. Okay, letter P.
Before I got the Dexcom G6, I was pricking my finger 4 or 5 times a day, and my diabetes was still out of control.
Now with the Dexcom G6, I just glance at my phone, and there's my number. I know where my glucose is and where it's heading.
The sensor is so small, I forget I'm even wearing it.
And did I mention no finger sticks?
My A1C dropped from an 8 to a 6.5.
I feel like I can do anything. It's amazing.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Go ahead and jot down those top 3 things that come to mind for you with this letter P, our second one. And your main message, and then we'll kind of go around the virtual room pretty quickly this time. So we have time to talk this one in depth. Okay, looks like some of you have some thoughts on the page. Who wants to start us off on this second one? What are the top 3 things that come to mind? Unmute and go right ahead. Donna.
I liked how it said it was small, so that, you know, you don't feel like you'll be able to see the device through your clothing, and that it was easy to use, and that you could use it pretty much, you know, any situation, anytime you can check.
Okay. Any other main message overall? Maybe there was something you missed first time around and you finally saw it. Is there any surprises on this one when you watched it?
On this one, it was a diverse group of people that were using it.
Okay. And you felt how about that?
Well, it's made for everybody.
Okay.
Everybody can use it.
Did any other communication come through for you? Other top things?
Easy to use.
Okay. Who else?
I saw, like, what screamed at me was like the sign in the background about how she hates the finger pricking. Like, I think I related to that, even just how intense that needing to prick your finger that many times kind of elicits. And so it makes you pay attention, I think, or hone in more on the benefits or the joy even of having a different way to do it.
Okay. All right. Bradley, top 3 things.
This one had a sense of relief, a sense of urgency, and a sense of pride that she no longer had to do what she did in the past, and she's looking forward to the future and what awaits her.
Tell me about that urgency. What element of it really spoke to that urgency?
The urgency like comes with like the sense of relief that she gave earlier when she said that the past is behind her. Now she can look forward to improving and making progress.
Okay. What did that mean to you personally? How does that come to life in your real life?
It means to me personally that anyone in that situation can have a road or a path that they can set their minds to, set goals, and accomplish what they need to accomplish.
Is that relevant for you though, or like put it in, you know, real life terms with you and your life and all that you do?
It's completely relevant, and the sense of having short-term goals and long-term goals.
Like what?
Like if you find yourself in a situation where your medical needs are they're surpassing your financial needs, and now you'll be less stressed because of the difference that the Dexcom is making.
Okay, makes sense. Edmundo, you were writing a lot. Tell me what your top 3 things were.
Well, the part where it kind of showed me that it gives you, the Dexcom G6 gives you control without the constant finger pricks. Again, I go back to the information is available to you basically on demand, anytime, any place, anywhere. It's a simple device and user friendly, easy to use.
Okay. Let's talk. Anybody else want to share? Catherine, I hadn't heard from you yet on this one.
Yeah. Just the flexibility, you know, different people with different walks of life. So it's flexible to use in different ways. No finger sticks. Again, they were good at pointing that out. And then again, that it's for everyone. You know, it's different people with different body styles, which to me, the body styles, to kind of point out the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. because a lot of times type 2 diabetics, once they're thin, don't have as many issues. So a lot of times the thinner people are the type 1 diabetics. It's not all the time, but that's just kind of the mindset. So
Okay. Did the rest of
you
you
see
think
the
that? Okay.
a lot of
Was it appealing to a certain, or you think it was both type 1s and type 2s? What about this one? Was there a focus? What about the rest of you? Do you agree with Catherine both, or?
Both.
I think both.
Okay. Let me know as we go through each of these if you think there's any one particular one or two that are more, more targeted, or they pretty broad appealing. It's important to know that. How did you feel about the different people used to tell this story, versus having the first one was the one lady talking about it? You've got a bunch of different people. How did you feel about that?
I liked it.
You liked it because of that?
I liked
Tell
it
me
better.
more on that.
I think, like I mentioned earlier, just showing or seeing a diversity of people. So people from, that look different, that are shaped different, that may be doing very different things, just kind of spoke to kind of any or everybody being able to use it, as opposed to, if your mind kind of channels into one specific group.
Okay.
So it actually, instead of you having to think it showed that a variety of people could use it.
I know you were really saw that that other people have talked too, but the no finger pricks, having to read some different stuff. How did you all feel about having to read some stuff, or did you not read it at all? You were just listening. Like, help me understand having to read some of those things that were popping up.
Tell me how having to read. What do you mean?
Having to read the different posts and things that were kind of popping up there. Was that clear that you were kind of reading their social stuff or not? And did you actually read everything that was on for printed with the words?
No.
You didn't read?
No.
You were listening more? Okay.
I did.
You were reading?
I did.
Annette, do you feel like you were reading, or were you listening more?
I was reading, but I think I was listening more. And for me, the smiles on every character's face kind of spoke more to me in terms of, again, like feeling like there was almost this secret that was juicy, or this joy in not having to do the finger pricks anymore.
You did mention the joy, and I was going to find out where that was coming from. So is it only from the smiles on the faces or anything else?
I just think it was the smiles on the faces, but also just them saying, it's easier, like kind of going through that list of it's smaller, it's easier, it makes life simpler to just have to do that, as opposed to not doing the finger stick. So I think it was a combination of all of that.
And this is for everybody. How believable was this one? Was this, if this had been the only one you saw today, would you have believed enough about this to be interested in the product or not?
Yes.
Tell me why, Edmundo.
Well, because again, different people from obviously different walks of life, in different stages of their lives, all pretty much speaking the same message. So to me, that would make it more believable, because you got a broader spectrum of people, as opposed to maybe the same type, saying the same words.
Okay.
But if you've got a diverse group, it tends to lend it more credibility.
Okay. And, these different, did you realize they were posts that were going on there, like social media posts, or not? Did that come across, or no? Didn't really catch that part?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
A couple people say no. A couple people say yes. What would have maybe made that a little more clear, that these were actual, these were these people's posts that they were coming up? Because you kind of saw the chat right behind them, the chat bubble kind of thing. Did you think that was just them talking or whatever?
Yeah, maybe if there was more color to it, because it was like all the same color. Maybe if there was, it was done in red or something to catch your eye.
Hold a phone.
Hold a phone, yeah. And did you realize these were real warrior social media posts that they had up there about using the product?
No.
No.
Wow. So 5 of you, or Bradley, did you realize it?
I did realize that, and I thought that it really made a difference because sometimes you don't really hear all that they have to say, and the chat it really made it reassuring.
So what helped you know, and then we'll find out what helped Steve know that these were real warrior social media posts that had experience with the product? What helped you realize that?
The context clues that they had, and the way of their mannerism of speaking.
Okay, what were the contexts though what did you see? What were the hints or the signals?
That the smirk or the smile or the just the good mood that they had.
Okay. And Steve, how did you know that they were real warrior posts?
They had a first name with the first letter of a last name.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Did the rest of you see that or not?
No.
So maybe they need to make that come through a little bit more next time. Okay. Got it. All right. This is super helpful. Thank you. Any other things you want to mention about this? Because I do want to go on and have time to share talk about the other two in depth and then share that fifth one. So anything else about this one? You're like, oh, I got to tell her this, or I got to get it across. Like, any final thoughts on this one for now? All right, let's move on for the sake of time. We're going to go to letter C. That was the third one that you guys saw. So let me grab that one and play it for you over again. Letter C, here we go.
The first time I saw my glucose on my phone, I got tears in my eyes.
Pricking your finger hurts. The worst part is you still don't know where your glucose is headed.
With Dexcom, I just glance at my phone and I can see my glucose and the direction it's going. It's easy to make adjustments. It's such a feeling of power.
When I got the Dexcom G6, everything changed.
I feel like I sleep better and have more energy.
My A1C went down to 6.
I feel like I can do anything. Anything.
Okay. Jot down some quick top 3 things, and or if there's some different main message that you took away from those top 3 things, and then we'll go around the room and share on this one. Just give you a moment to get your own personal thoughts on the page before we talk about it. All right, who wants to start us off on C? Third one. Yes, go ahead, Edmundo.
Well, the fact that it's easy to make adjustments in your, I guess, in your eating, in your lifestyle. The Dexcom G6 allows you to spot trends, upward or lower, and the fact that they mentioned that it's proven to lower your A1C. And if you know how to make the adjustments and you can spot what's making them go either way, yeah, that could help you lower your A1C.
So that was believable for you.
Yes, yes, it was.
Okay. I'm seeing a nod of head. Go ahead, Catherine.
Yep. I agree with the A1C. That was on mine too. And then the fact that it actually shows a graph with the ongoing monitoring of the blood sugar, so that way you can look at a glance and see what's going on, what's affected. Watching your glycemic index, which is how foods affect your blood sugar whenever you eat them, like directly, how something directly spikes your blood sugar. That would be really easy to tell with that graph. And then at the end, it's empowering is kind of what it had at the end, where it's empowering to have this ability to be able to monitor this and have this device to use.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Who else wants to share thoughts and feelings? What main 3 takeaways? Donna, will you go next?
Yeah, I like that it was a diverse group of people. That made it more believable, as the young people and the old people can use the same device and get the same results. The fact that they were getting good results means that the machine was working for them, because like you could see where you shouldn't eat or you should eat, or your activity level could lower it. So that was a good point too that they pointed out.
Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead and share what you wrote, Annette.
So I wrote down a couple of those things, like the diversity of the people and the graph I thought was a positive. But one of the things that I think kind of stuck out for me that I was like, I don't really like that, or doesn't make it as believable, is at the end when she's saying, I believe I can do anything. And I thought, I don't know that I like that, because that takes away. I mean, I definitely believe in watching it and learning about it that it can make things a lot easier, or makes your life easier, or gives you even motivation. But for her to say she believes she can do anything, I was like, I don't know that I like that.
So that took it to what at that point? Then what? How did you feel? What emotions?
Yeah, and it's hard because I'm not going to say I didn't believe the other stuff, because I had already, saw other videos about it.
Sure.
But I think hearing that part of it, I was kind of turned off a little bit.
Okay. It made you feel how about the brand of the product? Like, what did you think about the people, the thoughts behind it, I guess? Did it change your opinion?
So I guess the first word that comes to mind is I thought it's fake. I thought she's pushing it too high.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have that kind of feeling when you hear, I believe I can do anything? Is that over the top, kind of fake, too much, or not believable, or not?
People say that all the time about everything. Oh, I feel like I can do anything. So that just, I guess I just kind of don't pay attention to it when she said that.
You mean you hear people in your life say it, or you hear people on commercials say it a lot?
On commercials.
Oh.
You hear that a lot on commercials.
Okay.
You can do anything. So it's just filler words, I guess, to me.
Oh, okay. Did you even pay attention to it, or did you just let it kind of go over? But Donna, because you've heard it before.
Yeah, it's like a filler word. People always saying like. It's just I hear it, but I don't pay much mind to it.
Got it. Okay. Is there a better way to optimize that to end it? Like, what would have been better, Annette, if you would have heard you expected to hear what, I guess, at the end, to kind of tie it all up and wrap it up in a nice...
Maybe if she had said, now my life can be more manageable.
Okay.
Or something like that. I'm in more control.
Okay.
That would have been better than I can do anything.
Okay. Annette, any other ideas from you?
Or even I can do more of the things I've always wanted to do, or things that I've, thought about in the past, or something where it's saying, you can do more of what you want or have thought of, but not necessarily that you can do anything.
Okay. Got it. Real quick, I wanted to understand how well did there was different people in this one too, right? And a lot of you liked that part because you said it was kind of a bunch of different people and range of ages and sizes and stuff and all that stuff. But did it fit well together or not?
I felt
was it low? Yeah.
I felt that there was some empathy there, so you had to feel a little empathetic for their emotions at the time.
Okay. And did they all fit together pretty well as a story, kind of packaged up, or did you feel like it was choppy at all, or do you feel like you were kind of following along? You felt like you were engaged the whole time, or did you have to keep coming kind of in and out of what they were talking about? Just help me understand a little bit about the flow.
I felt engaged. I felt like there was flow through their storyline, and just going through point A to point B to them, it's a little sense of reassurance for them.
What about the rest of you? Having different people like that, did it flow as well as nicely as a story or not? Or did you not even think about that part? It was fine.
Yeah, I like a storyline. That's just personal.
Okay.
Yeah. It flowed from they had young, old mixed in. It wasn't like we started young and then ended up old. It was like.
But even the topics and stuff, Steve, how did you feel? It fit together or not?
I think it fit together quite good because we had testimonies from real people, both type 1 and both type 2, that they were pretty happy about what was doing. And then the comment about, geez, I can do anything. That's a pretty good goal. It's like, why settle? Why set your heights so high when you can reach for so much higher and do so much better?
Okay. any other thoughts? I think I'd like to move on to give some time to this last one. So with that, I'm going to just move on. I think we would have heard it if there's anything else you really wanted to point out. So we're going to go on to this fourth one that you guys saw that some of you picked. So let's go hear this letter D.
And we're live as Jackie takes on diabetes and an energetic Cooper. Jackie's wearing the Dexcom G6 and has it all under control. But can she check her glucose while Cooper tugs at the leash? Jackie glances at her phone and yes, she can. Say goodbye to those finger sticks. Looks like her number's a little high. Let's watch as she picks up the pace and takes another lap around the block. I'm told with the Dexcom, she's even lowered her A1C. Nothing gets in her way.
Okay. So jot down your top 3 things real quick. And looks like we lost Annette. Not Annette. Who did we lose? Sorry, we lost Edmundo. And maybe he'll get back to us soon. He might have lost the internet connection. Hopefully he'll be back. While we're waiting, just kind of jot down those top 3 things and the main message of this one, and we'll chat about it. Okay, somebody start us off. Bradley, why don't you go ahead with this one? How did you feel? What were the top things?
This one had a way of being enthusiastic. It was the whole getting out the door, enjoying a new day, having a fresh start.
And was there any other tone that you took away from this one, other than a lot of those positives?
I didn't see any negatives. I felt like it was a sense of perseverance through the storyline.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's go next. Annette, do you want to start us off on your end over here? What did you get for your top 3?
I like, for instance, that they used a reading that was a little bit higher, as opposed to always being, commercials where the readings are normal. Because, of course, we as people with diabetes have highs and lows. So I did like that they used a different number and even said, oh, it looks like her reading is a little higher, and then said, what she could do to manage it or bring it back down.
Why? How does that help if they do that and don't just make it exactly what it needs to be?
Because I think sometimes it feels isolating, or you feel like, oh, I'm the only one that's getting these super high readings, or other people are doing better than I am or managing better than I am. Whereas it kind of presented like, no, this is the normal person, and she has readings that could be higher or lower or whatever, as opposed to just everything kind of being in the middle or normal.
Okay.
Or in the, what we expect to be normal readings.
Okay.
It was entertaining because I feel like it was a little over the top with the dog dragging her around and everything, but it was funny. So it made me smile or made me laugh or think, oh yeah, especially when my dog was a puppy, like she was after everything. So it definitely was relatable in that way too. But I also felt like in some ways it was empowering. She's going through this. Yeah, everything's not going her way because the dog is dragging her or pulling or whatever, but she can manage and have it under control and still check her blood sugar, and things be okay.
Now, what about the tone? What was the tone that you would say overall came across from everything that you heard?
It's fun from the actual speaking, like the person narrating. It almost kind of sounded like a superhero. Like, yeah, things aren't perfect, but she can get it done, or she is more than capable. So it kind of made me laugh a little bit too, thinking of it's almost like this superhero thing. And then we even clapped, and and at one point it was like, yes, she can get it done, and people clapped or whatever. So,
okay, all right.
But that was a positive tone for me.
Okay, thank you. Who else? Yeah, Catherine.
She's very active and it stays on well while she's active. So it lets you know you can be active and don't have to worry about it like coming off while you're doing things. It also shows that she has, a lot of energy and things like that. Um, so, while she can be multitasking and using, taking her sugars at the same time. Um, and then, it shows that she can use it to try to be controlled because she was trying to monitor her swings while she was doing the activity.
Okay.
So,
Okay, great. Steve, thoughts on this one?
Well, it sounded like I was watching a sporting event with the
Yeah,
announcer.
that's what I was gonna say.
How'd you feel about that?
I sort of enjoyed it. It was like telling a story, and the individual was overcoming obstacles and having accomplishments. It was a very positive tone.
Okay. What'd you think, Donna? Did you feel the same way or a different way
Yeah,
than Steve?
it was almost like you were watching a tennis match, or something. Like he was narrating an activity going on. Is she gonna win? Is she gonna make it? Her numbers are high. Is she gonna get them low? Is the dog gonna pull her down? So it was entertaining. That's why I like this one the best.
Okay. Anybody, Edmundo, I need to hear from you. I'm sorry if you got kicked out before I replayed it. Did you get kicked out?
Well, you're talking about the fourth one. Obviously, it was very upbeat. It was positive. Yes, it might have been a little over the top, the narration part of it, but it showed a person probably in a very real life situation. And that's important because we want to be able to relate to the people that are actually uh, bringing us the message. And so to me, like I said, it's not always feasible to be carrying your kid around with you, but everybody's always got a phone. So if you pull out your phone, they don't know what you're doing. You check your numbers and you're done. So it shows you that you can accomplish things at the same time that you're living your life.
Okay. All right. Well, those were definitely some of the questions that I had about this one to make sure, you were okay with the tone, what you thought about having an announcer. Did the announcer help or hurt in any other ways that you haven't already mentioned? Could it be taken a certain way by anybody? Maybe not by you guys, but do you think anybody else would, have any kind of offense like that?
No.
Okay. It didn't seem like it was trying to make light of diabetes or make it seem not such serious topic. Like you don't think anybody would think they were making fun or anything like that? Okay. They just want to be sure that, that nobody would take it the wrong way. Yeah, that's the main thing that I wanted to understand. I do have another one. I want to understand, coming from the brand, I mean, what kind of light does it put the brand in with this one? And did the brand come through enough in this one? Talk to me a little bit about that.
I think it did.
Do you remember seeing it quite often? Like, I know it was the fourth one you've seen, so maybe if it would have been the only one, do you think you would have caught the name of the product, what to go ask about, or?
Yeah, I think it would have been apparent to anybody watching the commercial, and I think it portrays Dexcom in a positive light.
Okay. Others. So I want to go ahead and share another one with you guys because I know we're going to be out of time if I don't. This is a letter. Well, just don't worry about the letter. It's just the kind of an extra one that we didn't get to share. So let me play this for you real quick, and then I do want you to write down a couple top things because this is going to be the first time you saw it. Okay. Here we go.
Join us on deck as Gary tackles diabetes while he works on that tan. Gary's wearing the Dexcom G6. Can he check his glucose without breaking a sweat? He turns, he glances at his phone, and yes, he can. And look at that, without finger sticks. His glucose is a little high. Nothing a few laps can't fix. I hear with the Dexcom, his A1C is the best it's ever been. Nothing holds this guy back.
Okay, so without telling anybody what your thoughts were, keep it a secret. I want you to jot down the top 3 things that come to mind for you, whatever they may be, positives, negatives, and then also the main takeaway. Since this is the very first time you've seen this one, it's really important for you to kind of get your own thoughts on a page first, and then we'll go around the virtual room. All right. Looks like, Bradley, I'm going to have you go because you're going by memory, it looks like. So you can remember everything. Go ahead and start us off, Bradley.
The beginning was in depth. I felt like there was balance there, and he knew what he had to do in order to lower the number that he had, which was a little too high.
Okay. And, you know, overall, any other top things that kind of struck you in a certain way?
They actually pointed out the solution, and which is like a great thing there. Just running around the track once or twice, and he'll go back to having a normal glucose level.
Is this believable or not to you? How are you feeling? If this would be the only one you've seen about this product?
It's believable. It's persuasive as well.
Okay. And what's the most, I guess, persuasive part or element of it then?
Just having the number digitally on your phone, where you can pretty much take a screenshot or enjoy keeping it like as a saved file for once you go to like the doctor's office or any kind of office.
Okay. Super helpful. Who else wants to go? Steve, well, I'll let you go next. Top 3 things, main message, how to make you feel.
Well, the first thing I noticed, he wasn't wearing a shirt over his Dexcom. It was like, wow, this is probably small enough where you don't have to wear a shirt and not be embarrassed by it. Second thing was he went in the pool. Apparently it's waterproof and you can do that.
How'd you feel about that?
Wow, that intrigued me. I want to learn more. That was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, how would that be so different for you?
Well, you know, I don't want something I can't get wet. I can't take a shower. I can't perspire and it falls off or wears out or doesn't work. You know, I want something that'll be durable. And the third thing that really sparked my interest was at the end they showed a watch. You could apparently use the Dexcom with the intelligent watch.
And you hadn't thought about that yet, huh?
Well, this is the first commercial that's mentioned that.
Okay. All right. And let's keep going around the room. Catherine, what were your top 3 things and overall feelings you had towards this one?
Okay. It's waterproof, and he was in the sun, so sweat proof, because, you know, sometimes things that stick to you, you worry about it, you get sweaty and they might fall off. So waterproof, sweat proof. It looks like from the drawings that it may be flat, and the one my friend had actually wasn't flat. It actually stood up off her skin a bit, like it was almost a disc shape, but it stood up off her skin a bit, and I would think that would be a lot easier not to catch if it is flat. And then, you know, again, they were really good about emphasizing no finger sticks, which I know we've been over that a lot, but I mean, if this is the only commercial someone sees, they're really good about being sure that we know that you don't have to have finger sticks with this. So.
Okay. Let's keep going. Edmundo.
Well, what struck me was, again, the glucose readings at a glance, and they already mentioned the waterproof part. That caught my attention. The small size of the object, that was intriguing as well. I think it portrays Dexcom in a very positive light because it shows you, again, real world situations. I mean, like Steve said, you know, hey, I want something that if I go into the shower, it's not going to short out, fall on, malfunction, break. So durability That's what it struck me as well. This is a durable device, suitable for multiple life experiences.
Okay. How does that compare to, and this is just for everybody real quick, how does that compare to what other devices you've seen out there, maybe other advertisements and commercials you've seen for some of these other products that might be a little bit similar or maybe different in a lot of ways? You know, is this something differentiating from what you're used to seeing from this type of device?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this, are there any other of the commercials you've seen that really portrayed it in a differentiating light too? Because we haven't really compared back to other commercials yet, but I just was curious if you've been seeing other commercials about our devices or not, or maybe this type of device. Have you seen commercials out there that come to mind for you, or you're not even thinking of other brands you've seen?
No, not even thinking about another brand.
I don't know any specific brands. I've seen some commercials, but it's not specific like these are about anything other than you get to put it on your arm and you don't have to prick your finger. I mean, that's the only thing I know about their brands, period. I don't know if they do anything else at all. I didn't even know, I wouldn't have known they were waterproof if my friend didn't have one.
Oh, okay, got it. So I wondered how you felt about this setting too. How do you feel about an alternative setting being at the pool like this versus, you know, the other one was walking the dog? How do you think these two compare? Similarities, differences? Donna, you look like you want to share something.
Yes. With this one, I got the impression that before with diabetes, you have to watch what you eat to lower your sugar. With this one, activity, him being at the pool was going to lower his sugars by being active. And the fact that it, like everybody else said, it was small enough that he could wear it and not feel like people would look at him funny because it's visible.
How do you feel about that focus on activity more than food? Yeah, how is that for you?
That was enlightening. I like that because, you know, everything is like, oh, don't eat this, don't eat that, but to think about being more mobile, more active would help lower sugars.
And what's the role of a device like this, a monitor, a CGM like this, to help you with that?
Because you'll know, like if you go for a long walk, how your sugars when you started as opposed to when you were done, how it leveled out, as you know, like what he did. He looked at his sugars before he got in the pool. So if he goes in the pool and swims a few laps, then when he gets out, he could check his levels to see if it lowered it any. So it gives you kind of an idea.
Is that something you've thought of before, Donna, or not? Is that something you've thought of before?
No, I hadn't thought of that before.
Who else doesn't? Maybe you haven't thought of it much, or maybe never, or maybe it's not as often. Like, is that a reminder, or is that, yeah?
No, because who wants to prick their fingers and waste an expensive strip to check your blood sugar right after you get done running just to see if it lowered anything?
Okay. All right. So I guess real quick then, how does this compare to the one that we just showed before it, with the one with the dog walking? Do you have a certain, you know, it's not that you have to choose between them, but are you kind of feel like you're leaning more towards one than the other? Are they both pretty good? You know, they're kind of that announcer kind of person in the background. What do you think, Annette?
So that part was very similar, and I think both of them kind of emphasize activity or you know, moving around, doing something. But for whatever reason, I lean more towards the dog walking, probably because I have a dog, and I'm less likely to necessarily go to a pool. So that's just a kind of a personal thing. But I think they're very similar in that their entertainment, they're meant to be a little over the top, but to show you that you can do activity or that you can do things in addition to what you eat that will actually affect your blood sugar.
A lot of people have mentioned that whole over the top thing. What's going to be the result of it being a little bit more over the top? Tell me how that might play out in real life if this is produced.
I think you remember it more. I think, you know, just because it makes you laugh, it makes you smile, I think you have a tendency to remember it.
Okay. Was there any point at this one when you felt like somebody might take it negatively? Just as I asked with the one with the dog walking, is this one with the pool? Is anybody going to take it in a, like, oh, they're kind of making fun, or they're kind of making it such a light-hearted thing, and it's not, it's serious. You think that could be taken that way?
No.
What about even the people who are kind of new to being diagnosed with diabetes? Do you think people that maybe haven't had it very long are going to take it in a different light or not?
I think the only thing that comes to mind or makes me think about in terms of both of those, in terms of the body type, both of them seem pretty fit. Whereas if maybe they had a little extra pounds or a little extra midsection or just something else to make you think, not necessarily that, because I think initially I would think, or somebody else who didn't know would think, well, these are people that are active anyway, or who are, who are more physically fit.
Okay. That's a great suggestion. Any other suggestions to optimize this one or the dog walking one? Yeah.
I thought that would be a little.
Oh, sorry. There's some lag time. I'll come back to you, Bradley. Let's hear Catherine.
If you're going to go with the thinner figures, that's more the type 1. And then when they do activity, I think that their blood sugar drops more than it's up a lot of times. I mean, that's not all the time true, but I do know some people that are type 1 and they have trouble with that. Like if they're doing continuous activity, then their blood sugar will drop out a lot of times.
Okay.
And so that may be like a different commercial than someone who has like a type 2 diabetic with a different body style. And I don't know that people will think that hard about it, but I'm just saying that's what came to mind to me. But
okay,
people might not think about that, but I'm just thinking it.
Okay. Go ahead, Bradley. You had something to share.
I feel like it'll make them a little more alert, and their immune systems will be happy, so they'll be happy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I wanted to ask real quick. I know we've seen a lot today. We've seen 5 now, and so I want to go back and understand. Now in the beginning I said stick with the one you chose in the first session. Now that you're kind of seeing 5 things, you've seen this extra one. I just want to make sure, has your opinion changed at all? Where you think one might be more motivating than the rest of them, or are you sticking with that one that you came into the group with earlier? Let's just go around the room. Well, first of all, let's just kind of call out, did anybody kind of change their vote at this point? And you're allowed to even choose the 5th one now. You don't have to, but I'm just throwing that in the mix. Or did you change your mind between one of the first 4? Anybody change their mind? Tell me, Edmundo, tell me why you changed your mind into what?
I number 5 changed my mind, basically because it's showing a different aspect of the device, the waterproof, all of this things that were not really portrayed in the first ones. I had leaned towards the 4th one up until the time you showed us this last one. To me, that's it just kind of shows real world situations to me, and that makes it more relatable.
Okay. Steve, I think you raised your hand. Were you changing your mind, or did I miss? Catherine was.
No, I actually changed my mind. I liked number 4 because it was more entertaining, but my final choice is number 5 because it told me some information none of the other ones did.
Okay. Catherine, for you.
Well, I like number 5 as long as they put in there about that it will monitor those low swings. Okay. I don't know how they fit that into that, but that low swing thing is a really big deal that I think they should fit in there somewhere.
Okay. Annette, you sticking with what you voted or changed any?
I'm still sticking with number 2.
Okay. And Donna?
I still like number 4, but if I had to switch, I would pick 5.
Okay, no worries. And then I think we got everybody else, right? Did I skip anybody? Bradley?
I'm sticking with number 1.
Okay. It's letter T. And the reason for that? Why are you sticking with T?
T felt like it went in depth with all the rest of the ones that followed, and the first one was pretty much like the big picture for me. It gave me like what the topic was on and how everything else, the minor details would follow throughout the storyline.
Okay. Well, I had a question that kind of covers everything because somebody had mentioned earlier, about, I'm going to use an expensive test strip and then I'm going to waste it because, so I want to bring us back to that question. I mean, if the Dexcom G6, decreases the test strips, right, that you need and the cost for those, does that change in your mind that need to get the insurance coverage for this? If it's, taking away those costs that you might normally have if not using a device like this?
I believe it's a must to have that option. Because sometimes these insurances, they might not have the same policies with the same P2P professionals that they're out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about the rest of you?
It really depends on the price point. I mean, it just depends on how much it costs and if I can really afford it. I mean, if my insurance doesn't cover it, can I actually afford to go buy it? So, I mean, you have to replace the thing that goes in your arm. So, how much is it? And can I afford it if my insurance doesn't cover it? So,
Okay. What about the rest of you? Anybody else comments on that?
Yeah, I think that if you think about the cost of the test strips and the little needles that you need to poke your finger with, and you're doing that 4 times a day, I don't know how long the Dexcom stays on you. That's one thing the commercials didn't say. Do you wear this for 3 days, 5 days, or how long? So you would have to weigh the cost between the two to see which one. And we know for a fact insurance will pay for test strips right now, but some of them don't want to pay for the Dexcom yet.
Do you guys know about how much it runs or not? I was just curious if you priced some of this stuff out in the past, other brands or anything.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I've done some research on a couple of them, and they're very expensive, and the insurance covers a lot of it. In some of the places you can get coupons. For example, one of the things I saw for the Freestyle Libre, it'll cost $75 a month after the coupon and after your insurance.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, any final thoughts? I know we need to end. Thank you so much for sticking with me just a little bit past our time frame. There was a lot to get to, but I do appreciate your patience, and it's been fun and very great learning experience for me. And I have a lot to pass back to people actually working on these. So, Annette.
I do just want to add that because we talked about the price for the Freestyle. I think it varies with your insurance because my insurance isn't that. So I think it depends. And initially they didn't cover any of them, and then they started. So you got to kind of go back and forth with your insurance.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, it's been a great group. Thank you. I hope you've had some fun and learned some stuff. Anybody taking a next step like this towards this product? Tell me what you're doing. Let's go around the room. Edmundo?
I'm going to talk to my doctor about it, my endocrinologist, and get some feedback from him on this.
Any main questions you have, or what's still unclear in your head? We didn't talk about that yet, but is there anything missing that you needed to know?
Yeah, one of the ladies mentioned that how long do you keep the device on? You know, I mean, is that a make it or break it? The cost, the insurance, haggle with the insurance and see what they'll do.
What do you mean? Did you mean like, are you wearing it continually for a couple weeks or a month or two? Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, how long do you keep it on? I mean, how often do you have to swap it out?
Does anybody know that? Have anybody looked into that, Steve? Who's researched things?
I think it's about 2 weeks.
Okay, for this brand or for other ones you've noticed?
Other brands I've noticed 2 weeks. This brand, I'm not sure. I'm still researching.
Okay, no worries. Bradley, any final thoughts? Any things you're going to do next?
I think 2 weeks is more than enough time. It's worth the process of buying it and getting another one.
Okay. Annette, where are you going to be at this point?
So I'm already using one, and I just started a new, I guess their next edition.
And which one is that?
So I'm using the Freestyle Libre, and they have a Freestyle Libre 2. So I'm using the 2. I just started a week ago, and it has some additions that I'm trying to adjust to. So I think if this one didn't work for me, I would definitely look into the G6.
Are there some key differences that you're seeing with this one that you're like, I'm really interested in that part?
Well, what's interesting is, so for instance, the alarms. Not only can I set alarms, but they have a certain amount of alarms that automatically go off. And so I have pros and cons about that right now. I think right now, because I'm adjusting, it's getting me used to making sure that I check at certain times or check more often. But at the same time, I can actually be out someplace and everybody's going to hear the alarm.
Oh, okay.
So that I don't like.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So just trying to figure it out.
Okay. Donna, for you?
I definitely want the system. That I just need my insurance company to finally pay for it. So
okay. Thank you. Steve, you're still researching? What?
Well, one of the questions I have with Dextrom is you put it on your stomach. That's also where I take my insulin. Does that eliminate an area where I can't do the insulin?
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know. Did you see any other places where they put it, or that's only the only visuals you saw is on the stomach?
Well, the visuals for the Dextrom, the only place I saw was on the stomach, but the other one you put on the arm.
Oh, okay. All right. And anybody else? Did I get everybody? Catherine? Yeah.
So I'm gonna see if I can see if my insurance will cover it. Check with my doctor. And then Steve, I know that when my friend got hers, it said that she could put it on her stomach or her arm. Whenever she got her instructions with hers, and it wasn't a Dexcom, but I'm just letting you know that in her other brand, it said stomach or arms. So it may be the same with this one. I don't know, but just letting you know that. But yeah, I'm gonna try. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you all. I want to let y'all go. Thanks so much for your time. It's been great. Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.